What does the military takeover in Zimbabwe mean to President Robert Mugabe's leadership? Do the latest developments have anything to do with the recent firing of Emmerson Mnangagwa? Is Zimbabwe likely to go ahead with its general elections next year, given the current political situation? And what informed President Jacob Zuma's decision to dispatch a special envoy to the country? What time is it? It's question time. Welcome to the show. My name is Paul Sedu. The latest political developments, that is, in Zimbabwe, are believed to be a culmination of tensions that have been brewing within ZANU-PF for quite a while. Some say wheels started coming off in 2014 when then Vice-President Joice Mujuru was axed. Emmerson Mnangagwa was appointed as a successor until he was also shown the door by President Robert Mugabe last week. Soon after his dismissal, Mnangagwa issued a lengthy statement detailing his role in the struggle for freedom in Zimbabwe. He related how he went to the trenches with President Mugabe, even doubling up as his bodyguard at some stage. Part of the statement issued after fleeing the country, Mnangagwa said, and I quote, "Let not your hearts be troubled, for peace, love, unity, development, and prosperity are around the corner. I will be communicating with you soon and shall return to Zimbabwe to lead you." Close quote. Now on Monday, Army Chief Constantino Chiwenga issued a stern warning against the purging, which is clearly targeting members of the party with a liberation background, he said. 2 days later, a military takeover in the country is unfolding. Meanwhile, President Jacob Zuma has sent a special envoy to the country in a bid to help diffuse the current political crisis. But can First Lady Grace Mugabe be blamed for President Mugabe's imminent demise? We are live. If you can call us, your views. The number to dial 089-110-4210. And if you're outside the borders, +2789-110-4210. Our Twitter's your comments. Our Twitter handle @questiontime24. My guest, Tino Mambeu, Southern Africa Director at Zimbabwe Exile Forum, and Professor David Moore, who's a Professor of Development Studies at the University of Johannesburg. Now, before we get into the discussion, let's have a look at this video by a Zimbabwean citizen who's really concerned about the military takeover in Zim.
There's a tank along Josiah, along Kirkman Road, closing off Kirkman Road. This is, wow. Military police and a tank. Military police and a tank. This is happening in Harare. The date is the 14th of November. There is a tank blocking Kirkman Road, stopping cars from going outside. They're actually working on blocking the road. They're letting the last few cars in. This road leads to the second presidential guard barracks that are just outside Harare, going towards the Harare Sexco extension. This is, wow, it's real, guys. It is real.
Well, we don't know who the person is, but yeah, that's footage coming out of Zimbabwe. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. You're very excited.
Paul, thank you so much for having me. Let me greet my people, Zimbabweans, all over the world, in Zimbabwe, and anywhere where you are, whether you're in America, wherever. Mahwera say, vana Zimbabwe, makadini maneru, sanibona ni mazimbabwe amahle, nichona njani, siyanibingelela. Right. The events that are taking place in our country do not come as a surprise. We are a people that has been looking for a liberator since 1980. Because immediately after the liberation, we were tied into a dynasty, or we are tied into a man that believes that he is the only one that is capable to lead Zimbabwe. And that man is none other than Comrade Robert Gabriel Mugabe. And unfortunately, he has taken advice from the devil. The devil in the picture is his wife, who has been whispering into his ears, and the music probably was quite sweet, but unfortunately, Zimbabweans don't take that nonsense anymore, and that can be seen with the way the army is coming into the streets.
Yeah. What is the latest? What do you know? As a forum, obviously you have people on the ground in Zimbabwe. What is the latest?
What you know is more or less what everybody already knows, that Mugabe is held hostage in the Blue Roof, his other residence, apart from the official state house. So he has not been able to vacate the country. We know that he is in there, his family, the wife is in there. And we know that the generals are making demands that he should step down and allow for leadership to be changed within ZANU-PF. And, but we have been also advised that he does not want to entertain the generals. And of late, we have just been told that he has sort of agreed to meet the generals to have probably a one-on-one talk and try to map the way forward. But we urge the Zimbabwe National Army, the war veterans, and every Zimbabwean to unite, because independence comes in different ways. And if the devil has stolen the Bible and another smaller devil brings it back, you cannot throw away your Bible. You have got to keep the Bible with you.
Prof, I understand what is happening in Zimbabwe in this sense, that the army doesn't want to pronounce a coup because they know that the African Union, SADC, and everybody all over the world is going to be on their case. They won't recognize the new authority and all that. They are probably trying to get a legitimate or a legitimized way of getting this coup successful.
It's a unique coup. It's a semi-coup. It's a coup that's not a coup.
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating that it's within the party. So Chiwenga's announcement on Monday night was saying, all we want to do is guarantee that members of ZANU-PF can go to the extraordinary Congress in December and have an equal opportunity to vote. The G40, which was the group speaking in Grace Mugabe's ear so that Grace Mugabe could whisper in Robert Mugabe's ear, led by Jonathan Moyo, who everybody in the media knows about Jonathan Moyo, was trying to stack that extraordinary Congress, which is a year before the ordinary Congress would have been in 1919, right? So it looks like Robert Mugabe is quite ill. So people are ramping up, or we're ramping up the process for replacing the president. So if G40 hadn't gone in quickly to try and restructure that extraordinary Congress, they would have lost out. So they tried to create a third vice presidency position. There are now 2 vice presidents, well, however many years. There were, a couple of days ago, 2 vice presidents, the ZAPU vice president, Mpoko, and Emmerson Mnangagwa. With Mnangagwa out of the way, they thought they could have Sidney Sekaramai come in as the first vice president. So if anything happened to Mugabe, he would be president. Then Grace Mugabe would have been second. That's one interpretation I heard, which seems to make a lot of sense. So this was, they were planning, have the excuses, have Grace make speeches, call Emmerson Mnangagwa a snake, have that planned out. But, of course, the plan went awry because, well, they don't have guns, and it wasn't that clever anyway. So it's a coup within a party. That speech by Chiwenga is making it very clear that it's about the party. Now, what's going on now, it could be resolved in Parliament. If you look at David Coulthard's stuff on the Constitution, Parliament could legitimately get rid of the president. Or the president could stay on until December, when Mnangagwa's people would have had all the branch representation changed in time for the Congress, and he would then take either the vice presidency or maybe the presidency. I'm not sure whether they're asking Robert Mugabe now to abandon the presidency or just to keep his hands off until December. Okay. That's what we're not sure about.
Let's go to our lines.
Let me go straight to the point.
Yeah.
In English, they used to say everything has its beginning and its ending.
Yeah.
That's the ending of Mr. Robert Mugabe.
Okay.
I'm asking if our state president, Mr. Zuma, can just fold his arms and relax because we got our own problem in South Africa.
So you don't support South Africa sending this envoy of the defense minister and state security?
No, Mr. Mugabe started the whole mess, so you should stand by himself.
Whoa.
Yes.
Rasamul.
So I really support the military for what that happened in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish President Robert Mugabe could resign and together with the First Lady. And thank you.
Thanks very much. Rasa, they're saying, well, he doesn't support this envoy by the president to South Africa, I mean to Zimbabwe.
Yes, of course. We as the Zimbabwe Experts Forum, we know where our problems emanated from and who actually multiplied our problems. Our problems were multiplied by none other than Comrade Thabo Mbeki, the former president of the Republic. When he took to himself, I don't know who informed him that in fact he was well informed, and he took the quiet diplomacy option.
Yes.
And anything that comes from South Africa to try and fix our problems is a very big mess. And I would appreciate that those people that have gone there are not going to try and talk the military otherwise. Zimbabweans, I speak on behalf of Zimbabweans, are fed up of Mugabe. The nation is fed up of Mugabe. The international community is fed up of Mugabe. Everybody is just fed up. And I know within the rank and file of the army, they are fed up. So there is no reason to go and salvage a 95-year-old man. What do we gain from that? He can as well just sleep. Why can't he just not sleep? He has failed for 37 years. If there should be any room for salvage, they wasted it up with Thabo Mbeki, who negotiated a useless GNU that has not given us results. We are still here in South Africa because of that GNU that could not function. So if the army has taken the lead in saying, Mugabe, please step down, we Zimbabweans, we support it. We stand with the war veterans. We stand with our army. Our army is professional. They have not fired a gun at anyone. That speaks volumes.
Simba, you are in Tembisa.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm well, thanks for the call.
All right,
Oh, really, Simba.
all right, let me just quickly go to the point, actually.
Yes.
Yes, I'm also Zimbabwean, and we are really also disappointed on the call for President Zuma.
Okay.
Actually, the fact is what has been done by the military in Zimbabwe is quite right. If we are talking about independence, we need to be free. If you just say something to say, guys, there is a pothole here, I'm just giving an example, you are going to be arrested. So we are really disappointed why they can support one man in the country of millions. They are not crying for us. If there is SADC, there is no SADC in Africa, actually. If there were SADC, they were supposed to be intervened so many long time ago in Zimbabwe to assist the Zimbabweans. We are all over the country, and now President Mugabe, all of those people, they scared up, they fought for freedom in Zimbabwe, he left them with only listening for his wife.
Simba, thank you very much for that call. Simba calling us from Tembisa there. The number to dial, 0891104210. We shall return shortly. Please don't go away.
Could I get an alcohol-free beer, please?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, but make it a castle-free.
Castle free. 0% alcohol. 100% Castle.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. Before we continue, let's take a look at what President Jacob Zuma had to say earlier today.
As SADC, we are very concerned about the situation in Zimbabwe. We would like to call for calm and restraint, particularly to the Defense Force and all security forces in Zimbabwe. I have also contacted His Excellency President Mugabe, whom I had time to talk to, and he is fine, but confined in his home. I have also managed to get the briefing about the situation in Zimbabwe, but of course, given the seriousness of the situation, I've taken a decision to send an envoy to be able to contact the leaders of the Defense Force who have undertaken these operations, but also to meet with President Mugabe so that we have a more clear picture of what is happening in Zimbabwe.
That's President Jacob Zuma there. My guest in studio, Tino Mambeu, Southern Africa Director at Zimbabwe Exile Forum, and Professor David Moore is a prof here of Development Studies at UJ. Tebogo, you are on the line. Welcome.
I'm Paul. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for the call.
Okay, greetings also to your visitors there. You know, I want to make a point about the situation in Zimbabwe. You don't have to be a Zimbabwean to see that there are problems there, because if you look at Mugabe himself, he's very old to continue being the president of Zimbabwe. He has been there since 1980. Now, how long must he stay there? And everyone can see that that man is very old, and the state of the country itself. We have got so many Zimbabweans who are roaming the street of South Africa because they ran away from their country because of corruption there, everything, and the fact that Mugabe and his family, they are living a lavish lifestyle together with his wife and children. It shows that they don't have the respect for the people who put them in power. So whatever happens, Mugabe must just accept and move away so that he can give young, fresh leaders to run Zimbabwe. He must just allow everything, because he has been there for 37 years. So how long must he stay? So that's my problem.
Thank you.
And the issue of corruption, it must come to an end. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you very much, Tebogo. The Prof, does South Africa have any option than sending the two ministers?
Yeah. Look, I think this was planned very carefully, and it was probably planned in South Africa because Emmerson Mnangagwa was here. I don't think he would have, and he and Chiwenga wouldn't have done this without the agreement of the most powerful country in the region. So I think this is a symbolic gesture. Not that much will happen. Maybe if there's some difficulties with the generals meeting with Mugabe, these two other people can make it a bit easier for Robert Gabriel Mugabe to consider leaving. Maybe a place to live, if he wants to. But I think it's been sort of planned carefully. And I don't think Robert Mugabe will be asked to leave the country. Because remember that statement by Chiwenga, he says, we are worried about the counter-revolutionaries, the purgers within the party. Yes. And so in a sense, they're saying we are protecting Robert Mugabe from these bad guys, right? And Grace. What will happen to Grace is another question. You know, I was kind of thinking that Robert Mugabe would go with the family, go with the dynasty, a sort of feudal monarchical system. But he's known he's known Emmerson Mnangagwa for a long time. The butter is now on the bread, which is the military, right? The problem with Jonathan Moyo and his gang, his G40, is they didn't have guns. And they didn't have respect of people in the party or people in the country. Now, maybe you don't have to worry about an election in Zimbabwe. You can manipulate them, you can rig them, you can intimidate people, but you do have to worry about the party itself.
Okay, hold it there. Jim, you are in Cape Town. Welcome.
Yes, that's good, Dembo. I think as Zimbabweans, we are very happy, as your former leaders were always saying, Zimbabwean problems must be solved by Zimbabweans. I think for now, we are okay. We don't really need anybody's help. We are very happy for the removal of the president of Zimbabwe, and we had lost hope on who could take him on. Since constitutional ways could not work, since he could suppress freedom of speech and rig the elections. In short, he was a dictator and he called himself an irreplaceable leader, as if he contested with any candidate and so that he emerged victorious. So we are so happy with what is happening. We congratulate the army. We don't support a coup, but this was the only option which was in our hands. Thank you both.
Thanks very much, Jim. So suppose President Mugabe has to go.
Yes.
What then?
Right. If I give you this, it's still my end. And I give you that, it's still my end. So this is a change within a change. What Zimbabweans are tired of is not the army, it's not ZANU-PF at large. It is Mugabe. We have realized that the only problem that we have in Zimbabwe is that one man. That one man doesn't want he does not believe that there is anybody who can run a country except of him. So this is the problem that we have had several years. And that man is so cunning. His brain has appeared to develop more as he grows, instead of it going down as other normal brains would do. So he has been shifting, he has been playing like a fish in water. And we did not know where to catch him. We went to elections, he rigged the elections. We tried all constitutional means to try and get rid of Mugabe, but we failed dismally. And the problem that he did, he managed to secure the support of the army, he plays around with the army, but he did not understand that there will be a time when the army would want their own to be in power. And Mnangagwa has been doing his own thing on the side, trying to gain good relationship with the Chinese, the Europeans, doing all sorts of machinations. And that came to the ear of Mugabe, and Mugabe said, no, this man is going to kick me out. I don't want to see any president in Zimbabwe except for myself. And even his own wife, she was going to be vice president only. She would never go to that seat. Mugabe believes in himself and himself alone. And as Zimbabweans are saying, you can hear, these people are calling from all over the country, all over the world. They are saying Mugabe must now go. We are tired, and we want to reiterate this. If SADC is going to intervene in any form to try and to impose a leader that we do not want, then it's a war against Zimbabweans and SADC. And we have got to make this equivocally clear that we are not going. When you cannot hold me when I'm about to enter into my freedom. Our freedom has come now, and people must just watch and relax. There is nobody that has been shot. Mugabe is not shot. Mugabe is alive. The President Zuma spoke to Mugabe. It's a sign that he's alive. So we know how to take care of our president. We know how to keep him. We know he needs water. We give him water. He has not been arrested. What's the problem?
Do you think it was a bad move on President Mugabe to get rid of Emmerson Mnangagwa?
Yes, and I think that could indicate that his brain may have stopped developing the way Tino said it was. I'm not really sure if he was really controlling things. Some people say he can really, come to life when power is at stake and control these things, but I'm not so sure.
But when was that tested?
Well, it was tested just now, and he failed. I think, though, I wouldn't put all of my money on just changing one leader with another leader. Because what we're seeing here is not a change of generations and not a change of ideologies. We're still talking about the old guard. Emmerson Mnangagwa is 75 years old.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who was the chief architect in Gokurohundi, right? So things haven't changed that much. And that's one reason why the party can accept it, right? So, we still need a proper election, July, maybe the end of next year. And I think that election won't solve that much. I think 2023 will be the election when a real new generation comes in both parties, MDC and ZANU-PF. So.
Okay. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but look, we're following the developments in Zimbabwe. Let's see what happens in the next 24 hours or whatever the time period. And that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the entire crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Iwer Hot.
Entrepreneurship and taking charge of your own destiny is a mindset, and it's something that should start at a very young age.
I started when I was around about 3 or something, because I have a bunch of paintings in the office. I have a teacher that teaches me and my class how to do business, and he was the one who taught me.
Being an entrepreneur makes you money-wise.
Before everyone spent their money, I would sell the little things I painted, and I'd sell my drawings and stuff like that.
In business, it is important to keep record of all your transactions.
I have a passion and I love making anything, so I chose to make Play-Doh and I'm passionate about it.
Catch Bupilong every Friday at 17:30.
News, business, sports and weather from local and around the globe here on News Today.
It was important for me to nip all of these issues in the bud as they appear, so that we can give the assurance to the holders of pensions.
South Africa has more than 24,000 plant species which can be used to generate income for her citizens.
People believe that we as Africans have very little to offer the world in terms of science and technology.
The 24-year-old was the last rider to be caught after a break of more than 180 kilometers in Sunday's men's elite race at the World Road Championships in Bergen, Denmark. Smith is also the African Road Race Champion, the South African Race Champion and the South African Time Trial Champion.
Tune in to News Today every Monday to Friday from 3 to 5:30 p.m.
Phones, cloud systems and robots have taken over a lot of what used to be done manually.
Our accounting system is actually based on the cloud.
Google nowadays can tell you where you parked your car.
And Africa's entrepreneurs are using technology to create.
With Pocket Masipala, you can basically do all the services that you would do at the municipality physically by going there, but you can now do them on a mobile app.
Join me, Phumelele Zondi, on Sundays at 9 p.m. on SABC News.
We are your eyes in all major events around the world.
A wonder not seen in the United States in almost 100 years.
It looks like the sky of a different world. You see the stars out during the day. You see a sunset 360 degrees all around you.
Before you leave, make sure that Rob Byrne is taking you through traffic alerts all around South Africa.
All we can do is stick to what we do and focus on our own job and not focus on them.